Jamie over at Devil's Details Diecast is hosting a memorial build for Kenny Terry, who passed away earlier this year. Kenny Terry was a well-known figure in the diecast community, as he produced many of the decals you've seen over the years on builds from many customizers. I never had the pleasure of using his decals myself, but he left behind an incredible legacy of artwork on many, many small cars out there. The theme for this invitational is to build an Ecto that never was, a Ghostbusters themed build on the Ecto-1. Now you may have noticed I didn't have a turntable shot at the beginning of this because I had an idea what casting I was going to use at first, and then I saw this little guy sitting in a pile of cars I have, and I thought, oh, I've got to do this one. So yeah, it's a little tiny Honda City Turbo. I wanted to change the wheels, obviously, and I had these white walls. Those are Greenlight wheels. They're from one of their wheel and tire packs that I don't know which one. I just know when I've bought them in the past, I've busted them open immediately and, set the tires aside, wheels and tires aside, because the packaging is so big. But it needed white walls, to be an Ecto-1. I did have to grind out the wheel wells there a little bit more to get it to work right. This is a really tiny little casting. And part of me thought, am I being stupid doing this little car? But then the more I did it, I was excited at first about it. And then it was one of those builds that's part of the reason I didn't have the turntable shot, is I got so excited about building it, I forgot to do it. Oh, gauzy. Yeah, I did. This was a brand new casting, but I still gauzied the glass. Just for giggles, For those of you who are playing the take a shot when the word gauzy is said game, here you go. This one's for you. The car I initially had in mind to do this build on really kind of resembles the Ecto, the original Ecto-1. I think what appealed to me about this is this again just seems so wrong that it made it right. Kind of like the Ecto-1 K7 I did before and the Ecto-1 Bone Shaker. I just like doing the Ecto-1, I guess. It always seems right to me. I'm sure some of you out there don't feel the same way. But it's my build. So, in case you're curious, it's all rattle canned. I rattle canned the white. That's Model Master gloss white lacquer. The red there is that's a Molotow red paint pen that works great most of the time. Kind of like a Sharpie in a way. The Sharpies work really well a lot of the time, but every now and then they just kind of seem dried up and you got to leave them tilted upside down for a while and then you're good again. But anyhow, me and my license plates. Yep, I had to make an ultra tiny Ecto-1 license plate decal. And considering that this is a Kenny Terry memorial build, that's what the invitational is. Doing a little license plate decal only seems right. Obviously the Ghostbusters logo is going to be on here, but I wanted to put that too. The little license plates just crack me up. I'm sorry, but I just find them really cute on these things. And they're a pain in the butt because they're so darn tiny. But how can you not love that? I only did the back areas, the spoiler on the back and the rear bumper in red. I didn't put red on the front. I wanted to stay somewhat traditional. Like the Ecto-1 itself really has the red fins from the middle towards the back, I would say, is where it's working from. It doesn't have red up front. And so I toyed with the idea of putting a red front bumper on here and ultimately decided against it. Similarly to putting any decals on the hood, I decided against that as well. I hit the bottom there with semi-gloss black because that was that blue color originally, if you remember from the start of the video. And I used the Molotow pen to put a chrome tip on the exhaust, and then I used the Sharpie for the rest of the exhaust, which really is the only detail on the underside of the chassis is the exhaust pipe. And it truly comes out of nowhere and just heads out the side. There's no simulated engine, there's no simulated headers, there's nothing. There's no simulated axles. So this is the basic car. And I get this put together, as you're going to see here. That's basically the car itself, which I wanted to finish that up, and then I want to throw the roof rack on top of that completed car. You can see how there's really no detail on the bottom side of that base. Which makes me curious why they bothered putting the full-length exhaust pipe on there. What was the point? Why didn't they just put it sticking out the side and leave it at that? But anyhow, there you see a resin-printed roof rack for the Ecto-1. That's from Bench Werks Diecast Toys. I've used their items before. This one, I wouldn't say it's up to their usual quality. It had a lot of supports and stuff on it in places that I didn't expect, and it was lacking a lot of detail, which probably just, it's difficult to put that kind of detail maybe on these kinds of resin printed parts, but I needed to add stuff to it just to jazz it up. And so I put round tips on the ends of the tube that's on one side. I added some hoses there on the top, and I just stuck crap on it so that there'd be a little bit more to work with. Looking back at it once it's finished, I almost wish I added even more, but I didn't. And here you see after I've made the additions to it. And so I thought, well, this isn't bad. And so then it's just a matter of, I went over the entire thing with this gunmetal colored paint to give it a metal looking base to work from. And then I just started painting the details. And as you know from the Ecto-1, there's all kinds of colors up there. I used yellow and blue and red, and I used a brass color, and I used black to add detail to the straps. I used the yellow and black to create like a warning strip across the dome or whatever you want to call it on the back half of the thing. I mixed the green with a little yellow to give it a little bit more of a bright color that the Ecto-1 seems to have. And there was this little raised, this was made already in the Bench Werks piece, this little raised spider-like thing on there. So I just hit that with white to make it pop a little bit more. So again, it's just adding more and more little detail here, and I've tried to speed through here, cutting out chunks and just having a little section so you can see that. But yeah, you're seeing the different colors start to pile up at the top of the screen, the different bottles. Bottles and brushes and toothpicks and you name it. But I finally hit a point where I was like, okay, that's it. But yeah, there you see all the colors I ended up using. And there you see it once it's finished with the detail. I do like the little yellow and black stripe across the back of that little dome thing there on the back. I did go over that with a clear coat. And then after that clear coat had dried, a matte clear coat, I decided I wanted to put the lights on the front of that. They're blue lights on the Ecto-1, and so I thought, well, let me use these little sequin things that you see the package of them up there. I think that thing was less than $10 for all of them, and yeah, that's off Amazon. I used microcrystal clear to hold them down, and once I had them in position, and that was a touchy little thing. The microcrystal clear dries relatively quickly, and so once that's set up, I hit it with the Tamiya clear blue, kind of like I used a clear red on the taillights and clear orange. And you've seen me do that in other builds as well, using the clear blue over the sequins. There's or rhinestones, or whatever you want to call them. The clear is great on those because they retain their reflectiveness, but it still has the color. And so then I attached this rack to the roof of that finished car back there, again using the microcrystal clear. And modelers use that stuff to hold windshields, windows in aircraft and other models that they've made. They used to hold canopies down. So that's basically the end of the build. Here's where we started. Again, I apologize for not having the turntable shot, but here's where we ended up with the Ecto-1 half. I hope you like this build. I had a blast doing it. It was one of those things that, you get this picture in your mind. And for those of you who build, you probably know every now and then there's a build that you imagine and it just grabs you and you can't stop working on it until it's finished. This was one of those. I just absolutely loved working on this. So I'd like to thank Jamie for hosting this event and making it Ecto-1 related. I think it's wonderful that he's doing it as a memorial to Kenny Terry. And I hope all of you get a chance to see some of his decal work that he's done. And who knows, maybe some people still have some available for builds they're going to do. So take a moment, have him in your thoughts, and hopefully he knows we appreciate all of the beautiful work he did. Please check out all of the other builders in this invitational. And I hope you like this. I had fun with it. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there. Special thanks also to my Patreon members for their support. And we'll catch you in the next one.